If you're thinking about buying or selling in Vernon right now, the market has just sent a very clear signal, and most people are missing it. The numbers aren't crashing, but they're not exploding either. They're shifting in ways that could dramatically impact how much you pay and how long your home sits on the market, and potentially how much negotiating power you actually have. I'm Reners with Remax Vernon Salt Fowler, and today we're breaking down the January 2026 real estate stats for the North Okanagan, Central Okanagan, and the Shuswap. And more importantly, what these numbers are actually going to mean if you're looking to make a move in the 2026 year. Let's start with the big picture. Across all three regions, inventory is climbing while sales activity seems to be slightly slowing. That's a combination that is creating a more balanced and, in some areas, buyer-leaning market. Months of inventory is one of the strongest indicators of a balanced market. Right now, for the North Okanagan, it sits at 13 months of inventory. For the Central Okanagan, it sits at 13.8 months, and for the Shuswap, it is leading with 17.2 months. Now, traditionally, anything above 6 months suggests that we're in a buyer's market and that the buyer's market are going to have an increased negotiation power. So, what we're seeing is more choices for buyers and more competition for sellers. Pricing trends and what are homes actually selling for? Despite increased inventory, prices have remained surprisingly resilient. In January of 2026, for the North Okanagan, the average residential price was $737,580, the median price was $730,000, and the average price to sell was 81 days. For the Central Okanagan, the average residential price was $1,036,503, the median being $945,000, and days to sell was 81. For the Shuswap, for the residential sale price, it was $744,506, the median $678,000, and days to sell was 135. The standout here is the Shuswap market taking noticeably longer to sell, showing buyers are moving a little bit more cautiously now. Sales activity, where momentum is slowing. When we compare sales numbers to last year, activity has softened across the board. Total sales dropped. For the North Okanagan, down 7.78%, for the Central Okanagan, down 16.9%, and for the Shuswap, down 32.26%. Residential sales alone show similar trends, with only a slight decline in the North Okanagan, but more noticeable pullback with the surrounding markets. What this tells us is buyers are still active, but they're taking more time, doing more research, and seem to be negotiating harder. Quick pit stop. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're dropping new videos like this every single week. And remember, whether you're looking to move in 9 days or in 90 days, or if you're just curious about the area that we call home, be sure to call, text, or email and just add salt. Inventory and listings. Let's talk the supply story. New listings are actually down year over year across all regions. For the North Okanagan, new listings dropped 17.31%. For the Central Okanagan, they dropped 15.98%. And for the Shuswap, it was 16.31% decrease. However, total active listings remains elevated, especially in the Central Okanagan, which is currently holding over 3,100 active listings. This means homes are actually accumulating on the market faster than they're selling. A key factor creating longer selling timelines, so you have to consider this as a seller. Waterfront market update. Waterfront properties are always a major talking point in our region. For early 2026, it is showing increased listing activity compared to last year. Year-to-date waterfront listings. For the North Okanagan, 26 listings, up 12 from last year. Central Okanagan, 48 listings, up from 39. And for the Shuswap, 25 listings, up from 18. But sales haven't kept pace yet, which is typical for our higher-end and lifestyle-driven properties early in the year. This could create opportunity for buyers who have been waiting to enter the waterfront market with a little bit less competition. What this means if you're buying. You likely have more negotiating leverage right now, based on what we're seeing, than you've had in several years. There's more inventory, which means more choice, longer days on market, which means more room to negotiate, and potentially more motivated sellers are becoming easier to identify. However, well-priced homes in desirable neighborhoods are still selling, and they can do that quickly. So strategy matters now more than ever. What this means if you're selling. Pricing correctly from day one can absolutely be very critical. Homes that enter the market even slightly overpriced are seeing extended times on the market, a stronger price reduction that's going to be required later. Professional marketing, strategic pricing, and understanding micro neighborhood demand has never been more important than it is right now. What we're watching for as we move forward. Interest rates, migration trends, and spring inventory levels will heavily influence how 2026 unfolds. If inventory continues to climb, buyers could see even more leverage. If listings tighten again heading into spring, competition could return faster than many expect. The Vernon market has always been lifestyle driven, and that demand continues to support long-term stability. But timing and strategy are becoming a major differentiator between the good and the great results. And what most people don't realize is the next 3 months could determine where pricing sits for the rest of the year, which is why buyers and sellers who act early often end up seeing the strongest advantage before the market fully adjusts.